gals and guys, welcome back to the Fat Earth Backyard Farm. Today I'm talking to you about composting. Many of you may know that I bought 4 baby barred rock chicks, which are now pullets, 3 months ago. And I take their bedding out of their coop, which is right over there. That part of the roof actually lifts up on struts. I have 2 150-pound struts, so I just unlock it and it lifts itself up. I take the bedding out of there that has all of the chicken manure, and I put it over here into my compost pile. And I also add grass that tries to grow into my garden, and any kitchen food scraps that I don't feed to the chickens goes here. Obviously, I do not put animal bones, like I don't put chicken bones or steak bones. I don't put any type of greasy things in here, just eggshells, old bread, things like that. If I don't give it to my chickens, it goes here. And you can see it's starting to turn really nice and brown. I'm going to moisten it a little bit because your compost pile should always be the consistency of a wrung out damp sponge. So mine's starting to feel a little dry, so I've turned it, and I'm also going to wet it a little bit. You can use things like a compost starter to get it going, or you can just put the pile there and just keep turning it every couple of days. I don't have a compost tumbler, so this is my compost tumbler, my handy dandy pitchfork here. So what I do is I basically just come out here every couple of days and flip the compost pile, and you can see I've added some fresh grass onto the top of there that was trying to grow inside of my garden here. And that's pretty much it. You just keep turning it every couple of days, make sure that it stays moist. If you start to get a smell, you want to flip it, because that means that air is not getting in it, which is one of the reasons why a tumbler is great, because you can just turn it every day and then the pile doesn't sit for too long on one side. So if you start to get a smell, you know that there's no aerobic activity and you just want to give it a flip, because compost should have a nice, sweet, kind of earthy smell to it. And you'll know this is done when it looks like compost, when it's a nice, rich, black soil. So I'm getting there, and when I felt this pile, you know, it's pretty hot. So you want to be careful, especially when you're flipping in the middle. You definitely don't want to flip this with your hands. You want to flip it with a pitchfork, like the one I have here. That's really the most efficient tool. I've tried to flip it with my garden hoe here that I have. This one didn't really work very well. So my mother-in-law was gracious enough to give me hers, and I'm taking good care of it. So that's pretty much the tool that you want to use to flip your compost pile if you're doing it by hand. So I'll come back periodically. It's probably going to take 3 or 4 months for this to break down, because I've added a compost starter to it and because I flip it. If you just kind of let this alone and let it sit here, it could take anywhere from 6 months to a year, depending on how large your compost pile is. But because my compost pile is small, probably 3 months. I could add more things to it and, heat the compost pile up to get it to cook a lot quicker, but I'm in no rush. I'm just going to let it do its thing. So there you have it for you new gardeners. I'll get into more videos, maybe do a blog about how to start a compost pile and what goes into it. But you want to have a nice ratio of greens to browns. And I'll do that in another video and talk about that. Okay, so there you have it, garden gals and guys. Compost. Until next time, happy gardening.